If you're a brother who's been trying to build a business and procrastinating on it, then listen up, because I've been through that exact process myself. Alhamdulillah, I've been doing business for over 7 years now, full time. And the more that I stopped procrastinating and I worked on my procrastination as an issue, the more business success I started to get, the more money I started to get. And at this point, I've generated over $2 million online. I've done sometimes $100,000 in 1 month, and it's allowed me to live where I please, alhamdulillah, and live this life that I've developed for myself. If you want to start your own business and you're procrastinating on it, you really need to watch this video, because I'm going to give you a different narrative, a different message, especially for the procrastinators out there. I'm going to tell you the reality of what it takes, what you need to do, and how to fight back on your procrastination to make more money and have more business success. And I don't have a business course to sell you today, so I can be fully transparent and tell you the real truth that you need to know. So the first brutal truth that you need to know is that business is not complicated. Maybe at the levels of $1 billion, $10 billion, etc., it gets complicated. The regulators coming for you, the lobbies are coming for you, this and that. But at our level of making $1 million a year, $200,000 a year, whatever it is not complicated. It is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. There is a difference between simple and easy. Simple means there are only a few specific things you have to focus on and do and get success with, and you'll succeed in business. But that doesn't mean it's easy to get those things going. And the hardest barrier, the things that make it hard, especially for a beginner, is the mental fight. And that's why I focus so much on procrastination, because what is procrastination other than a mental game and a mental fight that you need to win? And if you win that fight, you will be able to succeed in business. So business is not complicated, it's simple, but it's a bit difficult, I'm not gonna lie. But the good thing is that all of that fight just comes down to winning the battle between your two ears. The next brutal truth that you need to know, because you're watching this video on YouTube, it probably means that you've been watching other business videos on YouTube. And a lot of those guys, they have a course or coaching or something to sell you, and therefore they need to make you feel like it is easy to start a business. Now, I'm also partially guilty of this as well, but the reality is somewhere nuanced in the middle. Let me explain. So starting a business is not easy, it's hard, but it is simple. Is it possible that you get things going, you make real money and really good money quickly? Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. I kind of benefited from that myself. I know people that have benefited from that. I'm talking about making hundreds of thousands of dollars in the first few months of business. So is it possible? Yes, especially with online business, things can get started very quickly. Is it probable though? Is it likely to happen? The truth is, no matter how you twist the numbers, it's not probable. Less than 20% or whatever of people are actually gonna get those numbers quickly. So what I would recommend for you is get it in your mind that I'm gonna do business, inshallah, by the will of Allah and the grace and mercy of Allah, I'm gonna succeed in it. And I'm gonna get out of it what I want. But will I get that easily? No. Will I get that quickly? No. Put that in your head and have that as your expectation. If it comes easily, great. If it comes quick, great. But don't expect it to happen. So are those people that tell you it's going to be quick and easy lying? They're not lying, they're saying it's possible, and I agree with them. But we have to know that it's not probable so that we don't get demotivated when it doesn't happen quickly. You have to know the reality. It will be tough, it might not be quick, but it's fully worth it. And I really think it's fully worth it. And this is somebody who worked for years in business and learning marketing before I made any money really, but it was worth it in the end. The next truth that I have to offer you is that this is going to be a long game, or it should be a long game, and you should think of it like that. Think of entering this like you're entering a career. So let's say now you're a software engineer and you want to move into the world of design, UX design or something like that. Now that is going to be something brand new, which means you're going to need brand new skills to actually become good at it. But also you're starting at the bottom of the rung in a way. You're starting at the bottom, so you're not going to get the best salary straight away. You're not going to be as comfortable as you were in your established career. It's a whole new career basically. That is what starting a business is like if you've not started a business before. It is starting at the bottom, but if you think the reason that people change careers is because they think in the medium and long term they'll be better off. So it's the same goes with this. You might have a job right now. When you start a business, you're starting at the bottom again as a beginner, but it's because you believe in the medium and long term, you'll be better off. So if you think of it that way, you're gonna just be able to sustain it so much longer because you weren't expecting the quick riches, the quick freedom, the quick. You were expecting that it would take medium to long kind of time, but that it's fully worth it. And this is what I was speaking to my client Ahmed the other day, and he was telling me, I really want to move to the Muslim world. He's in the US right now, and he's working on his business, and I helped him, alhamdulillah, get his first client. But he's like, before this takes off to the point where I could rely on it every single month, maybe I'll just get a remote job and move to the Muslim world, because I'm really impatient to move to the Muslim world. And I said, okay, but he told me something that really made me feel like he's on the right track. He said, I'm going to be doing this business regardless. Whether I have the remote job and I'm living in the Muslim world or I'm still in the US, I want to work on this business. And that's how you should see it, that you're in this career of business. And it's something that you're going to have to level yourself up in, but it's fully worth it. If you don't believe it's fully worth it to put a few years work and patience and skill building into this, then, I don't know, you're kind of living in a dreamland, man. The other harsh reality is that when you do business, you might start to feel like your money is in your control, it's in your hands. And so you can work harder to make more money. And that's of course not true. As Muslims, we know that your rizq is written and Allah is the one that provides for you. You don't provide. But as a business owner, there is always more that you feel you can do. When you have a job, you clock in at 9, you leave at 5, or you leave at 6 or whatever, and you go home. And you're not really worried the impact you're having on the business. You know you're going to get paid, right? With business, you have to fight back against that urge to just keep putting more in. What you have to do is balance between trusting in Allah, expecting the rizq from Allah, and putting in the right amount of work. How do you know what is the right amount of work? The way I think about it is, what would be a reasonable amount of work that I put in and reasonable types of strategies that I put in that would get me to that goal? So if that goal is to, 10x my revenue, then I might need to work a lot harder, because reasonably, the way that Allah designed the world is that you do need to do more to get 10x than to get 2x. So whatever I'm aiming for, I would put that level of effort, and I would trust in Allah, and I would try and shed myself of sins and ask Allah for help and focus on other things as well, right? That get me closer to Allah, because my goal is the akhirah in the first place. But if I was aiming for 2x, I would do what is reasonable to achieve 2x. Now, there's no harm in doing more work, but what you need to avoid, especially as a Muslim doing business, is just working more and more and thinking that that will get you more money. When partially Allah has put that in place, but you can't force it. You can't force your money. You have to do a reasonable amount of work and trust in Allah, and then Allah will give you. Okay, the next brutally honest truth is a hard one to swallow, I think, for a lot of people, but I'm just giving you the truth here. I don't have anything to sell you. The truth is that the current you today will not be able to succeed in business. If you're a beginner in business, you don't have the skills, you don't have the right mindset, you don't have the right way of thinking, etc., to succeed in business. Can you build it up? Yes, like anything. Again, I really recommend you see this as a career kind of thing, right? So today, I don't know how to be a civil engineer. I don't know. I don't have those skills. Can I become a civil engineer? Yes, I just need to have the right mindset, the right skills, the right this and that. So the same goes for business. But you have to admit that you might have to shed some of your current beliefs, your current ways of thinking, your current behavior patterns. You might have to shed that to become the man that allows you to have a successful business, right? So specifically for business people though, you need to change a lot of what goes on here. That's why after coaching over 1,000 people on business, the biggest barrier is what goes on here. Some people, they really want to know what they're going to need to do 20 steps away. Some people, they're not willing actually to do something they're uncomfortable with, right? Even if it's temporary. A really good example is doing sales calls. I am someone uncomfortable on sales calls. You could call me an introvert, meaning I'm not that comfortable with talking to strangers, people I don't know very well. People I know very well, very comfortable, pretty social person in that sense. But people that I don't know, not very comfortable with it. When I think of my goal in business, whatever my goal is, let's say on a very basic level, I want to be able to earn enough money from this business to do it full time, be able to live wherever I want, and earn enough to live comfortably, right? And to have the freedom and not have to answer to a manager and commute and all of that stuff. So that's my goal. Now I have to ask myself, am I willing to do something really uncomfortable, like doing sales calls, in order to achieve that goal? Well, for me, that goal is fully worth it. So whatever it takes, I'll do. That's why in terms of becoming someone new. So before, I was the person who wouldn't take sales calls, wasn't really comfortable with it, wasn't willing to do it. But I had to become the person who's willing to go through that discomfort in order to achieve the goal, right? You don't get to define the rules of the game. You don't get to go to your manager and say, oh, can we change this on our contract? Can I move my hours from this hours to that hours? You don't always get to do that in business. Some things in business you will just dislike, but instead of disliking them forever, you could just do them and get more comfortable with them. And as your business grows, of course, you can hire people to do that stuff instead. But ultimately, you have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, and you have to become a new person. And for some people, they can't handle that. They have that growth mindset versus stagnant mindset or whatever, right? Where you don't have that mindset where whatever I am today, I don't have to be that tomorrow. But some people have the other mindset. Whatever I am today, I will be that tomorrow. If you have that mindset, I don't think you can do business. But if you have the growth mindset where you believe whatever I am today, I don't have to be that tomorrow. I can change as a person tomorrow, then you'll be fine, inshallah. The other thing you need to know when I'm saying that you need to see it as a career and you just need to develop the skills and this and that, is that you don't need all the skills from day one. That's the good news I have for you. All the skills you need from day one, pretty much to go full-time in business, is sales skills. Knowing how to be persuasive, how to present something in an attractive way, knowing how to maybe do some basic digital marketing. That's what you need to go full-time on a business, to make £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 a month. That's what you need. You don't need the skills of hiring, of managing people, project management, operations, deep like digital marketing skills. You don't need these skills to go full time. You develop them over time. But the good thing about developing skills as a businessman is that there are stages to it. And you don't have to learn all the skills. Think of it like a degree. When you have a degree, you have credits, right? To get the full degree, you need a certain amount of credits. Well, to go full-time in business, you don't need all the credits of the degree. You only need 2 modules, let's say, marketing module, sales module. You don't need hiring module right now to go full-time. You don't need leadership module. You don't need, SOPs and operations module. You don't need those modules. You just need the 2 modules and you'll have enough credits to go full-time, if you know what I mean. The next one is, as Muslims, we need to act as though rizq comes from Allah. And of course, this still applies when you have a job. But when you have a business, of course, it feels more direct. It's like the farmer who's planting the seeds and tilling the field and all that, but then he's waiting for the rain. He feels that direct connection to Allah in terms of the provision. The same goes as a businessman. I always remember when we got to about 20,000 a month in revenue in the early days, and we had one client paying us £7,000. So it was a big chunk of our revenue. And one day we got the phone call that he wanted to cancel. So again, boom, so you've gone up and you're feeling great, and then it's gone down, right? And those moments, you just need trust in Allah, and you just keep going and believe that it will come. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you need to do certain actions on the business side, which everybody knows about and you watch YouTube videos about. But what nobody tells you is you need to do the other actions that will open the floodgates of Allah's provision on you. Imagine you're carrying a boulder of sins, and that is blocking your rizq, your provision. You need to shed that boulder off your shoulder so you can move faster and kind of make more money, basically. So do istighfar. Ask Allah for forgiveness constantly. Of course, you need to make dua, right? So sometimes when things are going well in business, you forget and neglect to ask Allah. But every single penny comes from Allah. So you have to keep asking for Allah, not just for a number of money, but for barakah in the money as well. It goes without saying, but you need to point all of your wins in business back to Allah, right? And this was the problem with the story in the Quran about the rich, one of the richest people in Bani Israel. And he put all of the ability to get money on himself. That's what it says in the Quran that he said, I got this because of my knowledge, right? We have to do the opposite. We have to say that this is from Allah. I worked hard, yes, I tried, I learned the strategies, but ultimately this is from Allah, because there are people who worked harder than me and made nothing. So therefore I have to admit this is from Allah. Being humble in that sense, pointing everything back to Allah, saying Alhamdulillah and being grateful, this is a way of getting more money as well, because Allah said, and if you're grateful, then I will increase you. In an open-ended way, I will increase you. So we have to be grateful. And the final thing spiritually that we need to do is to give charity, be generous. Right? Be generous. Really believe in a way that whatever I give, it's not leaving me, and act in that way. Again, yes, you do that when you have a job as well, but it just hits harder when you have a business. The other brutally honest truth I have is that you need a deep motivation. You need a deep reason other than making money and moving to Dubai tax-free and enjoying life, I think. Yes, some people succeed with that as their goal and their motivation, but for some people, it might not be that easy. Their journey might be harder, and therefore you need a deeper motivation. So when you have that deeper motivation, something like being able to live anywhere in the world, being able to pick the best environment for your wife and kids to grow up in and to live in, being able to spend on charity, being able, whatever it is that comes to mind when you think of your reasons for starting this business, you need to have that to be deep in your mind and deep in your heart. And then you need to make it as an actual intention for the sake of Allah, because that will put barakah in your journey. That will make Allah put ease in it. And even if you're struggling and you're not making much money, you're getting reward for it because your intention was good. So have that deep motivation, turn the motivation into a clear intention to be for the sake of Allah. And then every step you take is rewarded, inshallah, anyway. And then finally, I'll say this. I know that a lot of the Muslims out there that want to start a business, the minimum good reason they want to start a business is so that they don't have to live a lifestyle which is against their values. So when they go and work, they're mixing with women. When they go to work, they have to see certain things on the tube or whatever. They have to live in a location where bad things are going on. So the minimum thing is they want to avoid bad. That's the minimum. And that's a great intention. My only thing is, don't wait to be full-time on your business and to move to that country or this country. Don't wait for that point to do good. Whatever it is that you're dreaming of doing when you do have a successful business, inshallah, do a little bit of it now. So let's say when you have a successful business and you only work 10, 20 hours a week, and the rest of the time you could spend devoting to volunteering, for example, then volunteer now. Maybe not loads of hours like you're planning to, but volunteer a few hours now to prove to Allah that my intention actually is that I want to free myself up, I want to build this business for your sake and to do something good. Let's say you want to have a business, online business, etc., so that you can be a student of knowledge and you can spend a lot of time and money on your studies. Well, then do a little bit now. Prove to Allah that this is for that reason, right? So that is proof that your intention is real. And these are the real talk pieces of advice that I could give you that are brutally honest. This is the type of thing that someone selling to you business wouldn't tell you, because some of them are a little bit hard to swallow. But if you can swallow these and you keep going with your business journey nonetheless, then you're going to do great, because this is the type of mindset that you need to be successful. And if you're wondering why you haven't succeeded in your business yet, you've been on this business journey, you've had an intention to start a business, but you've not succeeded yet, then it's probably because of these reasons that I talk about in this video on screen right now. So go watch that, learn what those reasons are, and then apply them and fix them. I've got all the solutions in that video. Go watch it right now.